everyone, welcome back to another episode of Vegan Cooking with me, Andrés. In this episode, I'm going to be making vegan pigs in the blanket, and I already have my dough ready. I made this last night and I let it sit overnight. And I also have my boiling water ready for my carrots to go into the water. And these pigs in the blanket, I will be using carrots, my actual hot dog. So before I throw in my carrots, I'm using 5 carrots for my pigs in the blanket. I'm going to cut them all the same size just so they're not, because they're pretty large right now. So I'm probably going to cut them just a little so they're hot dog size. So I'm just going to cut them all the same size. And I'm just going to throw them into my hot boiling water, and I'm gonna let them boil for about 30 minutes until they're fork tender. And to give my carrots that hot dog flavor, I will be making my own marinade sauce. So for that, in a bowl, I'll be adding half a cup of low sodium soy sauce, half a cup of apple cider vinegar, half a cup of water, 2 tablespoons of maple syrup, 2 teaspoons of paprika, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, and half teaspoon of ground black pepper. And I'm just going to mix that all in. And once my carrots are done boiling and they're tender, I will add them into my marinade and let them marinate for about an hour before I start assembling my pigs in the blanket. So I'm going to be making potato chips. So I already peeled and cut my potatoes. So as you can see, they're right here. I cut them into little circles, and I already have my boiling water going. So I'm gonna throw them into my boiling water. And the trick about making potatoes or even fries is that you wanna boil them, but not too long. You want them you don't want them too tender. You still want them to be in that in-between of tenderness and hardness. So I'm going to let them boil for about 15 minutes. I'll check on them and I'll kind of determine if they're ready to come out of the boiling water. So I'm gonna throw my potatoes into my boiling water, and then I'm gonna marinate them and add them into my air fryer for about 25 minutes. And I did add some salt to my water just so there's some kind of flavor in my water and my potatoes can soak that salt in. And now I'm gonna show you how to make a simple marinade sauce for the potato chips. So in a large bowl, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of oil, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of onion powder. And if you watch my videos, you know how much I love spicy food. So I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of crushed red peppers and half a teaspoon of ground black pepper. And I'm just going to mix that. And once my potatoes are ready, I will throw them into my marinade, and then I'll throw them into my air fryer. So my carrots are ready to be drained. So I will drain them. And I'm going to place my carrots into my marinade sauce. And I'm just gonna let them marinate for about an hour before I start making my pigs in the blanket, just so they can get that flavor You can also leave them overnight if you wish. For this recipe, I'm just gonna let them sit for an hour. That should be enough time for them to get that good, nice flavor. And now I'm going to drain my potatoes. I ended up just boiling them for about 10 minutes. See how they're translucent, but they're not super soft. They're still pretty firm. I'm going to add them into my marinade. They're a little warm, so maybe let them cool for a few minutes before you start doing this if you don't want to burn your fingers. So I'm going to let them sit before I add them to my air fryer. So it's been about 30 minutes and my potatoes have been marinating in my sauce, and now I'm going to add them to my air fryer and fry them for about 25 minutes. So I have a confession to make. This is the first time I'll be making these pigs in the blanket. So let's see how these come out. So first I'm going to roll out my dough once again so I can start cutting it into squares so I can roll my carrot dogs. And this is a vegan crescent roll dough. And I will add the recipe to the description of this video for you guys. You can also buy the pre-packaged Pillsbury. I believe they have a vegan option, but I always like to make my own dough just because I know what I'm putting in it and I don't have that fear of it not being completely vegan. So I'm going to cut this into thirds. So I'm just going to place my carrot there and then roll it. I'm trying to figure out a way to do this. Okay, yeah, that looks pretty good. So this is completely optional, but I'm going to glaze my pigs in the blanket with some butter. And to this butter, I added some onion powder, garlic powder, salt, and a little bit of crushed red peppers. So I'm just gonna glaze the tops. And now that I'm done glazing them, I'm going to add them to my oven for 15 minutes and bake them at 375 degrees. So let's check on my potato chips. And they could probably use another 10 minutes in the air fryer. So there's 2 minutes remaining for my pigs in the blankets to be done, but I think I'm gonna add 6 more minutes to my timer just because they're still not golden brown and I kind of want them to be a little golden brown on top. So these didn't come out bad for my first try. As you can see, they're pretty golden brown. They look really good too. Ooh, my carrot dogs even smell like a real hot dog. And then here are my potato chips. So thank you so much for tuning into another vegan cooking with me, Andrés. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a little how to make these delicious CarrotDog Pigs in the Blanket, and if you like this video and you want to see more like it, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button.